Praise the Lord. I want to thank you all for watching, subscribing, and following us. This is Penel Christian Ministries. My name is Mukisa Israel. I'm so glad to be before you for watching and forwarding these messages that work for you. Um, Today, there is a very sensitive message I want to share with you people. Most times, we set values that we follow in our lives that set a standard that we really feel like it's good for our lives to consider such values so that we may live a life that we are proud of. And today, our theme, I wrote it in a way that is really a bit technical, but I'll go on breaking it so that we can easily understand today's teaching or message. The theme, I wrote it in a way, how principles of nature can guide your choice when your values collide. I'm going to break it and we shall understand it. Let me re-echo it. How principles of nature can guide your choice when your values collide. When we consider things to guide our lives, we have what we call the core values. I mean the values, you set values, then the core values, and then the principles of nature. The core values, these are guiding principles that individuals strive to uphold. All in collection, you gather everything you feel like it should stand in your life. That's what we call values, guiding principles that individuals strive to uphold. Then we have what we call core values. Now, the core values are the fundamental values that remain non-negotiable, even in challenges or situations. In those challenging situations, these core values, they remain standing. Then, principles of nature, these are universal laws and patterns that govern the natural world. So today, I'm going to draw a distinction between values, core values, and then principles of nature. As I've explained up there, the values are guiding principles that individuals strive to uphold. Then core values, fundamental values that remain non-negotiable even in challenging situations. Then principles of nature, universal laws and patterns that govern the natural world. Of all these things, my key points that I want us to consider are that the core values are essential values that remain when circumstances force you to prioritize. Sometimes we set very many values that we consider or we hold with that highest prestige in our lives. But when life throws challenges to us, we tend to compromise with a few values, and then we remain with the core values that we consider they shouldn't be negotiable or done away with. Then, another thing I want us to consider, or the key points in what I'm going to talk about, is to ensure core values are sustainable. They should be derived from principles of nature. Then principles of nature are enduring, unbreakable, and making them reliable foundation for core values. Principles of nature are enduring, unbreakable, making them a reliable foundation for core values. Then, aligning core values with the principles of nature helps maintain integrity. Njagala tugende mpola. I believe this thing is a bit technical, but we shall understand them. Now, in life, we set what we call values that we consider to be the guiding principles of our lives. But most times we do not consider these values in relation to the principles of nature. However, when life starts to throw challenges to us, now we start thinking about the core values. Among the many values we have, we start considering the core values. Now, those core values, if they come from the principles of law, like the natural principles, the natural principles nurtures these the core values that we when we look at them, they are non-negotiable. We can't compromise on them. And when you keep such core values to stand out in your life, then you keep integrity, you keep trust, you keep the core values that derive from the natural principles of life. Let me hope that is clear. Now, life will throw challenges to question our integrity, and there will be inner conflicts that arise whenever someone is challenged in regards to their core values or values they consider in life. So when you have listed your values, me I don't do this, me I don't do this, me I do this, me I do this, now life starts throwing challenges to you to check out your integrity in maintaining what you have listed as your values. Now, at times we tend to compromise with some of the values, and then we sustain what we call the core values. Now, these core values, we must be very careful to ensure that these core values derive from the natural principles of law or principles of nature. Because principles of nature they are unbreakable, they are unshakable, they are natural. You can't do away with them. So the moment you align your core values with the principles of nature, then you can sustain and protect your integrity. Very many of us, we have come up with a lot of principles we consider core values in our lives, but when they are baseless, when challenges come, they can easily be done away with, and then you just remain a person to look at. But when nobody can hold you of highest integrity because you have nothing you can stand for. We have lost this in areas of business, in our relationship with family, with our wives, children, and husbands. You do not have anything you stand out for. So, because your core values weren't derived from the natural principles, the principles of nature, but the moment you understand that these are my values, but among them I have what I call core values that I derive from the principles of nature. The principles of nature can easily protect your core values because they are unbreakable, they are non-negotiable. Let me hope that is clear. So, when life tests you to the core, now I want to read some of these things I've been writing down here. When you're tested to the core, one, you realize the impact and consequences of betrayal on personal values and relationship. I think one of the most things that make humans vulnerable, to my understanding, is love. Whether you like it or not, the moment you fall in love, we tend to say we don't fall in love, but if you're in love, you fall in love. And love is the most thing that makes humans vulnerable. Nobeerawo nga you would like to get out of what you're feeling, but you can't. And betrayal, that's when betrayal hits hard. Whether in a relationship, whether in a friendship, as long as someone is close to you, betrayal hits hard. And the reason why betrayal hits hard, it is not done by strangers, it's done by someone close to you, someone you have made to be of your own, someone you have picked among the men and you think this one is better than the rest, and those are the people that betray us. I, for one, I believe betrayal is one of the sieve God uses to separate people that are not meant to be in our lives. I've tried to read the Bible, but I've never seen someone who betrayed the other and they remained in the same company of friends. Either the other person gets away, or you just get to know that this person is no longer of my type because of the way they do things, and after discovering that someone betrayed me. So betrayal can test your core values or your values to the worst, to an extent of you having problems of trusting people and believing in their words or what they share with you. So you realize the impact of consequences. I beg your pardon. You realize the impact and consequences of betrayal on personal values and relationship. Two, the resilience in adversity, facing numerous challenges that force us to confront our beliefs. Now, this teaches us a lesson that resilience is crucial when navigating life's difficulties, that setbacks can lead to personal growth if handled positively. Most times, life throws a lot of things to us, and then we think of what to do. Now, in all these things, as they come towards us, challenges, betrayal, whatever it comes, it keeps dropping us, making us drop some of the values we had. One of my friends some time back told me, my priesthood, my loyalty or my loyalhood is not backing at me. Like kyekyobulangira kyalina ye tebamuboggokera. I could say that is one of the principles, the values he has. But at times, life can challenge you, and you're in a company of people who will back at you. And then you have to drop it and realize now this is no longer a value that I cherish, because the company I'm in is of people that are backing at me, and you let it pass. But they are those that we call core values that are protected by the nature, by the principles of nature. Then, facing your fears. Sometimes we set personal values to protect us from our fears. But at times, maturity requires us to face almost 3/4 of our fears, if not all of them. Most of the things we fear, like death, uh, disrespect, betrayal, heartbreak, and like lack of money, being broke, those are some of the things we can't even imagine sitting in or having them around. Being betrayed, being heartbroken, being broke, losing a loved one, they challenge. But if you're to face life in its entirety, you have to meet these things. It is so hard for someone to mature, minus you facing these things and handling them in the best way ever to make you look a man that is worthy of being called a man. That is a level of maturity. So, I'm talking all these things for you to understand that the values we cherish in life, they are going to be challenged. They are going to be tested. And I want you to know that if your values cannot be reduced to core values, and then making sure that these core values are built from the principles of nature, then you do not have any principle you can maintain as a value in your life. Because we humans are breakable. Tumenyeka, tubeera disappointed, we are versatile and we are flexible. So if you're too stiff and things that make you stiff are not built in the principles of nature, then you're going to be hurt, you're going to be very disappointed, you're going to hurt so much because your core values are not based in the principles of nature. Then three, the journey of life discovery or the role of reflection. Now, discovering your life requires a reflection of the same. You have to reflect about your life. You reflect about your choices, your actions, and then the consequences. Because the moment you start dropping some of the values to retain the core values, that means you're going to make a decision. Now you have to first reflect when you're discovering yourself. Now you are remaining with the core values in your life that are derived from the principles of nature. Now you have to think about your actions, first the decisions you're making. After making a decision, the action you're going to take. After the action, you have to think about the consequences, because the moment you make a decision and take an action, you have no any control over the consequences that come out of your actions. So you just have to reflect before you even make a choice. No, and you get to know, no, I've made this decision, I'm going to take this action, and these are the consequences. And then make sure you can maintain the consequences in line with what you consider as your core values. Because the moment the consequences, because this is the most dangerous thing if it comes out negatively. You have no control over it. So we assume you already thought about it before you even made a decision to take an action. So when you're to make a life discovery, you have to make a reflection of many things. This will help you realign you with the values and make conscious choices when you're moving forward. Then another one, rebuilding your life after loss. Very many people, the moment they lose the values and they make losses, it's so hard to bounce back. But I'm here to tell you, it is possible for you to bounce back. You just have to have a positive mind and just know that a setback is a way of rebranding, rebuilding, restarting with a lot of experience, with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of comfort and courage. So the moment you lose anything out, just see it as a ground a ground of rebuild, of another more of building something better than the usual or the past. Because whenever someone makes a loss, to us who believe, who have faith, we expect you to have gathered a lot of experience, a lot of abilities, a lot of knowledge. So when you're to start something else, you stand a very, very, very vibrant person to be inquired from, to pick advice from you, because you have tried something, you have seen whether it works or not, so you have gathered enough experience. So you ought to rebuild yourself even after you have lost something. Then the other one, the power of forgiveness. As we drop off some of these values that we cherished so much, there are people or us ourselves that caused the dropping off of those values. So you ought to forgive them and also to forgive yourself. This will give you peace of mind. Forgiveness is one way of letting go and accepting the peace of mind come back to you. So whenever you see someone that doesn't forgive, you can even hate someone when he doesn't know that you hate them. But when it's upon you, who hated, and it is hurting you who hated, it's you doesn't have peace, it's you doesn't have joy in your heart, it's you can't progress because you hated someone. So forgive, let go, refresh your mind, get peace back, and then you start afresh. Forgive people and forgive yourself. It will help you become a very, very good person. So my message to you: one, reflect on the values and identify their core values. One, reflect on your core values. Reflect on your core values and identify, I beg your pardon, reflect on your values and identify the core values. Two, explore the principles of nature and how they can inform and strengthen your core values. Three, align your core values with the principles of nature to cultivate integrity and resilience. With this, it will help you understand what you must keep as a core value, what you must drop as a mere value, and how you can intertwine your core values with the principles of nature. Because once your core values derive from the principles of nature, you will never ever miss out on them. The principles of nature will protect them because for them, they are unbreakable, they are non-negotiable. Even in challenges, they stand tall, they stand still, they stand tall. So it will help you make something better out of it. I want to thank you for listening. God bless you.